Ulrich here, and welcome to my RGT 136161 crawler unboxing and review. Now he's already got it out of the box, you're thinking, what's all the fuss about? Now, while it might have a funny name, you won't be laughing once you've seen this thing up close and personal, the spec of it and what it can do. And for one thing, it comes complete with a Dumbo RC radio. Now, that is one of the best low-cost radios you can get on the market, but it doesn't come with that particular one. That's the 6-channel version. It comes with this 4-channel one, complete with a light kit that I tested just a couple of months ago. And that means when you turn the steering wheel on the lighting kit, the indicators or turn signals on there work both front and rear, as you might be able to see reflecting off of my Traxxas spanner behind it. And if you're thinking of buying an Axial SCX24 after you've watched this video, you might be thinking again. I will put a link to the car below the video. Anyway, to see how we got it and find out why I like this thing so much, keep on watching. Well, welcome to my RGT 136161 1/16 scale crawler review. I thought this would be an ideal truck to review at the minute, as a lot of us are still in a shelter in place or quarantine, regardless of wherever we are in the world. Anyway, it's available in 3 colours, the red, the blue or the yellow. So without more ado, let's get this thing unboxed, see what we get for our money. I'll put a link to the truck below the video if anyone is interested in it. Then I'm going to charge it up and we're going to take it for a little test run around my yard in this video. Just remember guys, if you like what you see today, don't forget to subscribe. And looking on the back of the box gives us some ideas of the features we've got with this car. It's 4-wheel drive, lock differentials on it, 370 motor, Hobbywing ESC with LiPo battery mode on there as well, bearings all round, metal gears and metal drive shafts on here. So it's a 40-degree side crawling angle on there, 45-degree approach angle and 46-degree descent angle on there. And I will test this out on the climb board and see just how steep an incline this little thing can go up. And it comes completely ready to run 7.2 volt 1100 milliamp battery in there, which they claim gives a running time of greater than 40 minutes. Well, cut the end of the box open. Hopefully in classic Richie style it won't be upside down, as I have a habit of doing with these things. Ooh, quite liking the look of that from the outset. Well, it's very orangey yellow. You're certainly not going to lose this in a hurry, even in the dark. So what do we get for our money? Well, we get the instruction manual. We've got a couple of body clips in the back there. Some shock absorber preloaders on there. So I'm guessing we've not got threaded shocks on there at this price point. And 2 pieces of plastic, which I'll need to read the instruction manual to see what they are. Well, the first thing being, I had to do a double take. This looks very, very similar, if not identical, to the Dumbo RC 6-channel transmitter. Although they do a 4-channel version of the Dumbo RC transmitter, and I'm wondering if this is exactly that. Got steering on there, throttle, brake, reverse, our on-off switch on there. Now what made me think it was the Dumbo was we've got a channel 3 on here, push button switch, and we've got a slider switch on there for channel 4. So I am the suspicion that this is a rebranded Dumbo RC, which is no bad thing. We've got reversible steering, reversible throttle, steering trim adjustment, throttle trim adjustment, steering dual rate, and throttle dual rate on there. So the transmitter, fully functional, which at this price point I was not expecting a transmitter with quite that many features on there. Anyway, let me get the car out and up on the stand. But before I do that, I noticed they've handily put the charger under the underside, the interconnector on there for our battery. Overall, I was very impressed with the packaging on that. It tends to be quite a good sign as to how well the car might be put together, if that makes any sense. Now in terms of holding its own, hand completely off the throttle and the drag brake, and the thing is holding itself on a 53-degree slope. Are people beginning to see why this thing is impressing me quite a bit? Well, I have to say, first impressions are, it looks very neat, very scale realism on it. Looks very, very much like a Land Rover Defender, although it's not stated as being that. And I'm seeing lights in the front here. Are those actually genuine LEDs in there? We will see when we get the thing powered up. But overall, I have to say, for the money, it's supremely well detailed. It really is. A lot better than what I was thinking it might have been from the pictures. And that yellow certainly pops right out at you. As I say, you're not going to lose this thing, even in the dark. It's nice to see they put the spare wheel on there rather than hanging it on the back, off the back of the car, which of course is the one place you don't necessarily want to wait on a crawler on here. Now, those tyres, I have a feeling, might be pretty grabby in terms of being able to just grip onto rocks and gain some serious traction on there. That's my gut feel from squeezing them on there. Anyway, let's have a look at under the chassis and then take the body off. Good news. Well, straight away when I've turned it over, I'm seeing good news because we've got wiring coming to the rear lights and wiring going to the front lights. So it looks like we've got a full set of LED lights all round. Anyway, we'll start in at the back. We've got a nice rigid bumper on there with our LED lights linked into it. Traditional 4-link setup. Now I'm not sure if that cover is metal. I suspect it probably is just plastic. Now moving on to the drive shafts on here, the plastic on everything, I have to say, feels of a high quality. It doesn't feel like cheap plasticky on here. We've got the shocks, which are not threaded. The giveaway was they came with preloaded spacers along with the instruction manual. I'm liking this red plastic cover on here. It almost looks like metal, but it's not. Now moving on towards the front of the car, we've got our 370 can motor there, which is well towards the front of the car for getting the weight over the car. And our steering servo tucked away up there. It is only a minuscule steering servo on there, but overall, I have to say, first impressions are, this is quite a nice little crawler. And speaking of that body, something I should have mentioned on it, this roll cage over the top actually gives the car a lot of strength in there. I'm pushing in quite hard on that. That's not showing any signs of flexing at all. I think this good thing could take an upside down landing without too much of a worry at all. Anyway, 4 clips off. Now as we take the body off, whilst the rear LEDs are wired into the bumper, the word into the body on this side, which means I'm very carefully going to need to figure out how to disconnect the electrics from here, or Richie could simply cheat and turn the car around and do it like that. So you would struggle taking the body off to the right hand side, but taking it off the left hand side you can get access to everything with absolute ease on there. The body is not in the way at all. And while I mentioned the ESC is LiPo ready, you have got an 1100 milliamp 7.4 volt nickel metal hydride battery on there. The more I look at this car and the features on it, the more I'm thinking this is quite well thought out. Battery simply velcros down in place. Now starting at the back with the rear bumper, you've got the built-in LEDs, which I shall test in a minute when I've got the battery on charge. Our shock absorbers, as I say, not threaded at this price point. There's your 1100 milliamp 7.4 volt nickel metal hydride battery, and the one standout feature, no, it's not the Dean's connectors there, Richie. It's got a separate receiver and ESC. At this price point, in general on all sorts of RC cars, they tend to be a combined ESC and receiver, but we've got separate receiver, separate ESC, meaning that if you want to do any upgrades whatsoever on the car, it's much easier to do and much cheaper to do. Anyway, moving down towards the front, we will see our mini servo for the steering at the front there. Now the chassis on the car, I was looking at thinking, is that metal or not? It's not metal, but the plastic is incredibly rigid. In fact, I've felt metal chassis that have had more flex in them than this plastic one has. And Richie's had a revelation on this receiver. This is definitely the Dumbo radio, because they do one of these Dumbo radio setups that I tested recently, where the receiver has the lighting module built in the end of it, meaning you've still got all of your channel slots free on there, whereas normally you would have the wiring going for the lights, taking up extra channels. So this is a definite plus on this crawler from the outset. The electrics I'm very impressed with so far. Well, I've got one of the Dumbo RC transmitters on the side, and it's definitely a Dumbo RC transmitter. It's the 4-channel version of this 6-channel radio, because the only thing that's missing are the top 2 channels on here. So it is an excellent radio, which has a cracking range of around about 500 meters with it. And we've got a 370 can brush motor at the front there. Not at all sure how many turns that motor has got, but I will try and find out by the end of the video. Anyway, let me do a quick suspension test while I've got the battery on charge, and then let's head straight outside. Okay, well, I'm going to lift the rear suspension until the front just comes clear. That's just starting to go. I think that's about. Now I'm thinking that's coming up on just about 3 inches of travel on the rear, which is quite outstanding. I was not expecting quite that much. Now the same on the front, lift the front until the rear just comes clean. Oh, not as much on the front. Maybe 1.5 on the front there, maybe 2 inches at a push. Now with the battery all charged up, you can turn the lights on using the channel 4 switch. You have it set on flashing, slide it one over again, constant headlights on there, turn to the right, turn signal comes on, turn to left, turn signal comes on, and pleased to say, exactly the same at the rear. You've only got indicator lights at the rear. There are no reversing lights or brake lights on here, but it's still not bad to my mind for the money to get that kind of functionality. Anyway, now the battery's charged, be silly not to take the climb board out. Okay, that's set initially on 50-degree slope. Is this a bridge too far from the outset? Let's see. Too much power there, Richie. I'll tell you what, this thing is going to monster up that. 50 degrees straight out of the box. I have a feeling we may be able to have some fun with this one. Okay, we're stepping the game up. We've got an approach angle here of 53 degrees. How will it get on? On there. A little bit more speed on that. $53 degrees straight out the box, no wheel weights on that, nothing else. Absolutely outstanding. And it's only supposed to have an approach angle of 45 degrees at the front, yet we're hitting a 53-degree slope and climbing straight up it. Very impressive. Okay, we're now going for 55 degrees. Is this going to be a bridge too far? Look at that approach angle, it's just awesome on there. Could it be a bit too far, that Rich? And we're not going to do that 55 degrees. And what goes up must come down, right? Not with quite that style though. And while the LED lights on the front are reasonably bright, they're not necessarily going to see you through a night's crawling. The one thing I would say about the controller, it feels brushless smooth. The start and the stop of the thing, just, well, I've had worse brushless systems than this. Anyway, let's go and find something a little bit testing around the garden to test it out on. Drag brake strength is quite high. Fingers crossed those tyres are going to prove as grippy as I thought they might. You can turn the lights off completely, should you so wish. Articulation level, not bad at all. So, what's its turn of speed out? Flat out. That's flat out. So I'm liking the look and the feel of the tyres. Remains to be seen how well they will handle out on the trail. As I say, its size is going to go against it in some areas. I am so far quite impressed with its abilities. I think it mentioned it would do 40 degrees side hilling on there. It's just the controller, it's just the ESC controller, it's just super smooth. As I say, I've had worse brushless systems than this thing. Well, it ain't doing bad so far. In fact, I've had crawlers that have caused double this that have not done as well along here. Some of this general like trail stuff, it's going to be a blast over that without any problem at all. The handling of the thing is pretty darn good, I have to say. I'm not beginning to rave on about this one, but I really was not expecting it to be anywhere near as good as it is. I think with a few mods, like putting some wheel weights at the front, this thing could be devastatingly good actually. Up until a point, obviously, given the size of the wheels. Okay, well, gonna head on up my little trail, see how we get on. Always gets caught on sticks, Richie. Got a decent enough turn of speed, as I say. I'm not particularly a fan of super fast crawlers. The only reason I would say you need a brushless crawler is maybe for that inch by inch control turning radius on the thing. To demonstrate that, that's pretty tight for something so small. But as I say, it's very lightweight, which kind of goes in its favour and against it at some point. But those tyres are proving just as grippy. If the battery lasts 40 minutes, this is absolutely outstanding value for money. I'll tell you, I've had $300-400 crawlers which have not been as good on this surface as this thing is. Okay, well, straight out of the box, there is a lot to like about the RGT 136161, other than its slightly unusual name. The performance stock out the box for something this size and at this price point, absolutely devastating. I thought it was a good sign when I saw what radio it had come with, and the fact it's got a separate ESC and receiver in there screams volumes about the quality of this thing. I'm definitely going to play around with this. It needs a little bit more weight up front, and I think once I've put that on there, this crawler will prove to be absolutely devastating little pocket rocket. Anyway, you like this, you want to see more of this car, then don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Thanks for watching. Well, thumbs up if you like this video, guys. Post any comments you might have in the comment section below the video, and hit the circle below to subscribe. And if you do hit the circle, don't forget to hit the bell.